It's Tuesday, the 17th of January 2023. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's jump into it. Story number 1, the local share market is having an absolutely cracking start to the year. It's now at its highest level since April last year, with local miners and tech stocks doing particularly well.
That's right. Now, the first day of trading this year wasn't so good, but since then, the S&P ASX 200 is up more than 6%. Yesterday, it closed at 7,388 points. Leading the way has been the gold companies. That's because the price of gold has been rising, and the ASX Gold Index is up 13.5% over the past couple of weeks. That's a pretty good return. The Resources Index is up 8%. The Tech Index has risen 7%. Remember last year, those tech stocks are sold down hard? Well, a bit of a rebound there. The banks have actually been the main underperformers so far in 2023. Still, they're in the black. A pretty decent start to the year. Pretty much mirrors other developed markets around the world, Michael.
Sean, story number 2 is a bit of good news, really, for anyone, say, travelling to the US. The Aussie dollar is performing pretty well.
Yeah, look, some of us that went overseas late last year are somewhat jealous about the fact that the Aussie dollar is nearly worth 70 US cents. I didn't mind getting mine at 62 US cents.
Sounds like it still smarts a little bit there, Sean.
No, not at all. Not at all. Anyway, why has it done so well? Couple of reasons. The pace of rate rises in the US look to be slowing. In fact, they might end soon. And the COVID zero policy in China has been abandoned. That means that economy should get a good kickstart. They'll need resources. That's good for Australia. Put those things together and you end up with a much stronger Aussie dollar. So it's trading around 70 US cents. Great if you're traveling overseas. A few other things. Oil prices haven't changed that much over the past month. Still pretty high. Brent crude's around 84 US dollars a barrel. But if you look at petrol stations at the moment, prices are just down at the moment, and that's good news. Gold's well above 1,900 US dollars an ounce. We spoke about it yesterday, but some of the cryptocurrencies are much higher as well. Coal is off quite a bit this year. Very important to Australia. Coal's our second biggest export. But iron ore prices, our biggest export, well, the prices are surging again. In fact, yesterday Beijing came out and took some action trying to keep a lid on iron ore prices. Iron ore miners are having a good time at the moment.
Indeed. On to story number 3, and Canberra, Sean, hasn't exactly kicked back into action with Parliament still on the summer break, but we are starting to hear more from the pollies about real issues rather than just the kind of Christmas goodwill.
Yes, there's a couple of things. Yesterday, Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers was out and about. He warned gas producers that the consumer watchdog is closely monitoring their behaviour after the Albanese government imposed a temporary price cap. Remember, that's all about keeping our electricity prices lower. The competition watchdog today will provide some more information on that. And also yesterday, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was praised by China for his pragmatic approach to the relationship between the two countries. Now, the Chinese Communist Party mouthpiece, the Global Times, wrote that Mr Albanese's comments over the weekend that he wanted to see further improvement with Australia's largest trading partner as commendable and the latest positive sign in China-Australia relations.
Story number 4, Sean, Super Retail Group, which owns kind of some household names, retailers like Rebel and Super Cheap Auto and Macpac and BCF as well, yesterday released record sales and strong earnings in the 6 months to December. It really seems like there's not much of a slowdown among those outdoor types.
Yes, the numbers look even better because of last year's COVID situation, but still, sales in the pre-Christmas, post-Christmas period were at record levels. Who said consumers are feeling the pinch from interest rates? Certainly not at Super Retail Group. Like-for-like sales jumped 11% at Rebel, 15% at Super Cheap Auto, and 54% at Macpac. In contrast, sales at BCF were down about 2%. One thing that the boss, Anthony Heraghty, said, which I thought was kind of interesting, he said that Super Cheap Auto is middle Australia, more western suburbs of Sydney than the North Shore, his words. He then went on to explain his retail outlets. Rebel shows how well shopping centres are doing. BCF reflects domestic tourism and how tradies are going. Macpac is about outbound tourism, or as he said, people tend to buy a new ski jacket when going abroad. All pretty interesting, really.
All right, last one. Story number 5. I love a good airline story, Sean. Bain Capital, the private equity group that owns Virgin Australia, is thinking about listing it back onto the stock exchange. Now, this is 3 years after it rescued the carrier from voluntary administration with a $3.5 billion takeover.
Yes, Bain hasn't yet decided what to do with Virgin and whether to refloat it, but all private equity firms buy assets with an exit in mind. So Bain is having a think about it. Virgin has emerged from administration as a mid-market carrier under the leadership of Jane Herdlicker. That's up the value curve from the old Virgin, which was more focused on the discount end. Ms. Herdlicker has previously said the airline was on track to make money in the second half of this year, and listing a company making money is much easier than listing a company losing money. Virgin's previous listing was always a tough sell. It had 5 foreign airlines owning 90%, also kept losing money. Nowadays, it's a much more disciplined company. We're feeling that, Michael, because we're paying higher airfares. Hence, Virgin's doing better.
All right, that's it. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Tuesday, the 17th of January, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough for you, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was The Past 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.